I never thought a single weekend could unravel everything I thought I knew about my marriage. My name is Vanessa, and at 35, I believed 8 years with Mark had built an unbreakable bond. Until a secluded cabin in the heart of the woods became the stage for a game that changed it all. Surrounded by towering pines and the haunting stillness of the wilderness, I felt a restless storm brewing inside me, whispering secrets I wasn't ready to face. As laughter and firelight warmed that first night with Mark's closest friends, an innocent dare turned into a forbidden dance of temptation and trust. What happened next pushed boundaries I never imagined crossing. Will our love survive the fallout? Or did I just ignite a fire that will consume us both? Picture this. I'm standing at the edge of a memory so sharp it cuts through the haze of everyday life, a moment that still lingers like the scent of pine on a cold breeze. My name's Vanessa, and at 35, I've built a life that looks pretty perfect from the outside. 8 years married to Mark, a man who's been my rock, my adventure buddy, my everything. We've climbed mountains together, literal ones, with sweat and blisters to prove it, and danced through life's quieter valleys. But beneath the surface, there's this itch, this restless hum I can't quite name, buzzing just out of reach. I don't dwell on it, not yet, but it's there, like a shadow flickering at the corner of my vision. This particular memory takes root in a weekend getaway, a chance to escape the grind and breathe deep in a place where the world feels untouched. Mark and I rented this cabin in the woods, a cozy little hideaway nestled among towering pines that stretch up like they're trying to pierce the sky. The air out here is heavy with the scent of damp earth, grounding me every time I step outside. At night, the silence is broken only by the distant, haunting hoot of an owl, a sound that feels like it's calling from another world. The cabin itself is all rustic charm. Wooden beams, a creaky porch, windows that frame the endless green like living paintings. It's isolated, miles from anything resembling civilization, and that's exactly why we chose it. Mark's brought along his crew, the same 5 guys he's been thick as thieves with since their college days. I've known them almost as long as I've known him. And though they've always welcomed me with open arms, I can't shake the feeling of being the outsider, the +1 trying to carve out a space in their tight-knit history. There's Jake, the unofficial ringleader, loud and brash, always the first to crack open a beer and belt out a story with a laugh that fills the room. Ethan's the opposite, quiet and brooding, but when he speaks, it's with a sharp wit that cuts straight to the bone. Ryan's the charmer, all smirks and smooth lines, the kind of guy who can make anyone blush with a glance. And trust me, he knows it. Caleb is the gentle giant, towering over us all, with a deep, rumbling laugh that feels like a warm hug. And then there's Tyler, the brainy one, hiding behind thick glasses but with a mischievous streak that sneaks out when you least expect it. Together they're a force, a pack bound by years of shared secrets and reckless nights. That first evening in the cabin, the atmosphere is easy, almost golden. The fireplace crackles, casting a warm glow across the worn wooden walls, painting everything in shades of amber. The smoky scent of barbecue still hangs in the air from dinner, mixing with the sharp tang of red wine as glasses clink and laughter spills out over old stories and half-remembered antics. I'm nestled into the plush couch next to Mark, my legs tucked under me, feeling the warmth of his presence as the evening stretches on. The living room is a mess of comfortable chaos. Empty plates litter the coffee table, crumbs and barbecue sauce stains marking where we devoured dinner just an hour ago. A half-empty bottle of Merlot sits within arm's reach, its deep red catching the firelight. Jake and Ryan are sprawled on the floor by the fireplace, their backs against a pile of cushions, while Ethan leans casually against the wall, swirling a glass of wine with a distant look in his eyes. Caleb's claimed the recliner, his massive frame making the chair look almost comically small, and Tyler's off to the side, flipping through some old novel, though I can tell by the way his head tilts that he's tuned into every word we're saying. The portable speaker hums softly in the background, classic rock tunes weaving through the air, a familiar soundtrack to nights like this. The conversation flows like the wine, easy and unhurried. Jake, predictably, starts tossing out crude jokes, each one more outrageous than the last, his voice booming over the crackle of the fire. I can't help but laugh, even as my cheeks heat up at the sheer audacity of his words. Ryan jumps in, turning his charm on me with a wicked grin, teasing that I'm the lone lady in what he calls a den of wolves. His words send a nervous giggle bubbling up from my chest, but there's a thrill in it too, a spark of something electric at being the focus of their attention. I feel Mark's hand tighten around mine, a quiet reassurance, his thumb brushing over my knuckles as if to remind me that no matter how wild this pack gets, I've got him as my anchor. I glance at him, catching the steady look in his eyes, and I know I'm safe, or at least I think I am. Then Tyler closes his book with a soft thud, his glasses glinting as he leans forward. "How about we spice things up a bit?" he suggests, his voice carrying that sly edge I've come to recognize. "Let's play truth or dare, but not the kiddie version. We're going all in." Jake's eyes light up, and he slams a hand on the floor with a shout. "Hell yeah! No filters, no taking offense. Just raw, unfiltered honesty." Mark chuckles beside me, his grin sharp as he adds, "And no backing out. You pick dare, you do it. You pick truth, you spill it. No exceptions." The rules hang in the air, heavy with promise, and I feel a knot twist in my stomach. Part of me wants to shrink back, to play it safe and just watch from the sidelines. But there's another part, a quieter, more reckless voice, whispering that maybe this is a chance to let go, to step out of the careful shell I've built around myself and embrace the uncertainty. As the game of truth or dare kicks off, the air in the cabin thickens with a tension I can almost taste. My turn comes faster than I expect, and my heart is hammering so hard I'm sure everyone can hear it over the crackle of the fireplace. I'm sitting there, cross-legged on the couch, my palms sweaty as I weigh my options. Truth feels too exposing, like peeling back layers I'm not ready to show, so I force a shaky smile and mutter, "Dare." The word barely leaves my lips before Jake leans forward, his wicked grin slicing through the dim light. He locks eyes with me, his gaze sharp and unyielding, and his voice drops low, deliberate, like he's been waiting for this moment all night. "Dare. You have to get close with all of us, right here, right now." And Mark has to watch. The room falls into a stunned silence, so heavy it feels like the walls are pressing in. The only sound is the fire snapping and popping, suddenly deafening in my ears. My breath catches in my throat, sharp and jagged, and I can't seem to pull in enough air. I turn to Mark, my anchor, expecting him to laugh it off, to shut this down with a quick joke or a protective arm around me. But instead, he nods slowly, his expression unreadable at first, a mask I can't decipher. Then he speaks, his voice steady but laced with something I can't quite place. Curiosity, maybe, or something darker. "It's a game. I trust you." Those words hit me like a punch, stirring a storm inside me. Shock rips through my chest, tangled with a sense of betrayal, but there's something else too, a forbidden thrill, a whisper of temptation I can't ignore no matter how much I want to. I take in the scene around me, every detail burning into my memory. The dim light from the fireplace casts long, flickering shadows on the wooden walls, making the room feel smaller, more intimate. The smell of wood smoke mixes with the faint, lingering sharpness of wine, grounding me even as my mind spins. The others are watching, waiting, their eyes on me like I'm the center of some unspoken ritual. Jake's grin hasn't faltered, bold and challenging. Ethan's stare is intense, quiet but piercing. Ryan's smirk teases at the edges of his lips, daring me to take the leap. Caleb's massive frame shifts slightly, his expression softer but still expectant. Tyler pushes up his glasses, a nervous energy flickering behind his curiosity. My hands tremble in my lap, and I can feel the heat of Mark's gaze beside me, urging me on without a single word. I hesitate, my mind a battlefield of right and wrong, of loyalty and desire. But Mark's eyes hold mine, steady and unblinking, and in that moment, I make the choice. My legs feel like they're made of lead as I stand, the room tilting just slightly as I steady myself. "Okay," I whisper, barely audible, but it's enough. The air shifts, charged with a raw energy that makes my skin prickle. What follows is a line I never thought I'd cross, a moment so surreal it feels like I'm watching myself from outside my own body. I let myself get swept into an intimate dance with each of Mark's friends, one by one, right there in the living room by the fireplace, the warmth of the flames licking at my skin as if mirroring the heat building inside me. With Jake, it's all bold confidence, his touch firm and unapologetic, guiding me with a certainty that leaves no room for doubt. The fire's heat sears against my back as we move, the scent of his cologne sharp and earthy. Ethan is different, his approach quiet but intense, every gesture deliberate, his breath hot against my ear as the shadows play across his face. Ryan brings a teasing edge, his smirk never fading, his fingers light but purposeful, drawing out the moment with a playful taunt whispered just for me. Caleb surprises me with a tenderness that contrasts his size, his hands gentle yet steady, grounding me even as my heart races. Tyler, nervous but intrigued, joins in with a hesitant touch. I'm sitting back on the couch now, my body still trembling from the whirlwind of what just happened. The room feels heavier somehow, the silence pressing down on me like a thick fog, broken only by the faint crackle of the fire in the hearth. My skin is flushed, a lingering heat that won't fade, prickling across my arms and neck, as if my nerves are still alight. There's an ache in my muscles, a dull throb that speaks to the intensity of those moments, and my heart, God, my heart refuses to slow down. It's pounding in my chest, a relentless drum that echoes in my ears, making it hard to think straight. I try to steady my breathing, but each inhale feels shallow, like I'm grasping for air that isn't there. I glance around at the others, needing to gauge where we stand after crossing such an unthinkable line. Jake's sprawled out on the floor still, his expression smug, like he's just won some unspoken game, a glint of triumph in his eyes that makes my stomach twist. Ethan won't meet my gaze, his face turned toward the flickering flames, his jaw tight as if he's wrestling with something he won't say out loud. Ryan catches my eye for a split second and gives a small nod, a subtle gesture that feels like a quiet, well done. Though I'm not sure if I should feel proud or ashamed under his approval. Caleb, towering in the recliner, looks conflicted, his brow furrowed, his massive hands clasped together like he's trying to hold himself back from speaking. And Tyler, fidgeting with his glasses, adjusts them nervously, his fingers twitching as he avoids looking directly at me, a flush creeping up his neck. My gaze shifts to Mark, still seated in the armchair across from me. His glass sits empty on the side table, the last drops of red wine catching the firelight like tiny embers. His face is a mask I can't read, an impenetrable wall of calm that sends a shiver down my spine. Is he angry? Disgusted? Does he regret letting this happen? I search his features for any hint, any crack in that stoic exterior, but there's nothing, just a stillness that feels more dangerous than any outburst could. My mind starts to spiral, fear creeping in like a cold draft through the cabin walls. Did I ruin everything? Does he hate me now? 8 years of marriage, of trust, of building a life together. Did I just shatter it in one reckless moment? I brace myself for the worst, expecting to see anger flash in his eyes or hear disgust in his voice when he finally speaks. But instead, he sets the glass down with a deliberate slowness, the soft clink against the wood sounding louder than it should in the hushed room. Then he stands, his movements measured, almost methodical, and my breath catches in my throat. Each step he takes toward me feels like an eternity, the creak of the floorboards under his weight marking time in agonizing beats. My mind races with worst-case scenarios, painting vivid pictures of harsh words, of a rift so deep we can't come back from it. What if this is the moment everything unravels? What if I've pushed him too far, broken something sacred between us? My hands clench into fists in my lap, nails digging into my palms as I try to anchor myself against the storm of doubt raging inside me. He stops right in front of me, his shadow falling over me like a dark curtain, blocking out the warm glow of the fire. I feel small under his presence, vulnerable in a way I haven't felt in years, my heart thundering so loud I'm sure he can hear it. I can't look away from him, even though every instinct screams at me to hide, to shrink back into the couch cushions and disappear. The room seems to hold its breath, the others watching us like we're the only two people here, the weight of their stares adding to the suffocating tension. I can still feel the heat on my skin, the echoes of those intimate exchanges with his friends lingering like a forbidden aftertaste, and I wonder if he sees it too. If he's replaying every moment in his mind, judging me for it. I'm frozen there on the couch, my breath hitching as Mark looms over me, his presence both a shield and a storm I can't predict. My mind is a tangled mess of fear and guilt, every second stretching into an unbearable eternity as I wait for his judgment. But then, something shifts. He lowers himself slowly, dropping to his knees right in front of me, the creak of the floorboards under him, a quiet echo in the tense silence. His hands reach for mine, his fingers warm and steady, wrapping around my trembling ones with a gentleness that catches me off guard. I feel the roughness of his palms, the familiar calluses from years of hiking and hard work, grounding me in a way I didn't expect. I dare to lift my eyes to his, and what I see there isn't the anger or betrayal I feared. It's something else, something raw and unguarded. There's admiration flickering in his gaze, a deep, burning desire, and maybe even a glint of pride that makes my chest tighten with confusion. Before I can process it, he pulls me forward into a tight embrace, his arms wrapping around me with a fierce intensity that steals the air from my lungs. His breath is hot against my ear, a sharp contrast to the coolness of the room, and I feel the steady thrum of his heartbeat against my chest, matching the wild rhythm of my own. Then he whispers, his voice low and rough, carrying a weight that sends a shiver down my spine. "I've never been so proud. Next time I'm playing too." The words hit me like a wave, crashing over every doubt and fear I've been drowning in. My mind reels, trying to make sense of them, of the implication that this wasn't just a moment of chaos, but something he's willing to explore with me. There's a promise in his tone, a shared secret that binds us in a way I never saw coming. A rush of emotions floods through me, so intense I can barely keep up. Relief washes over me first, cool and soothing, easing the knot of dread that's been twisting in my gut since this all began. I didn't break us. He's not walking away. But there's confusion too, swirling in the mix. Because how do I reconcile this side of Mark with the man I've known for 8 years? The man who's always been my safe harbor, now looking at me with a hunger that mirrors something wild inside myself. And then there's this electric excitement, a buzzing under my skin at the thought of what his words mean, at the idea of stepping into this unknown together. It's thrilling, terrifying, and I can't deny the spark it ignites deep within me. I pull back just enough to look at him, my hands still caught in his, searching his face for any hint of deceit or hesitation. But all I see is sincerity, a raw honesty that strips away any pretense. His eyes are dark, intense, reflecting that same hunger I feel stirring in my own chest, a longing for something beyond the ordinary, beyond the safe boundaries we've always lived within. It's as if a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying lifts off my chest in that moment, replaced by a new kind of bond between us. It's unspoken, but I feel it in the way his grip tightens on my hands, in the way his gaze holds mine without wavering. It's powerful, almost tangible, a connection forged in the heat of what just happened, stronger than anything we've shared before. The rest of the room fades into the background, the others becoming mere shadows at the edge of my vision. Jake's smug grin, Ethan's averted gaze, Ryan's subtle nod, Caleb's conflicted frown, Tyler's nervous fidgeting. They don't matter right now. It's just Mark and me, locked in this moment of revelation. I realize, with a clarity that cuts through the haze of my emotions, that this wasn't just a game to him. It wasn't just a reckless dare or a test of boundaries. It was something deeper, a way of peeling back the layers we've built up over the years, revealing who we are when the masks come off. And what I see in him, what I feel in, as I sit there, still wrapped in the intensity of Mark's embrace, the weight of the night starts to settle over me like a heavy blanket. The fire in the hearth has burned down to glowing embers, casting a faint, warm light that barely reaches the corners of the cabin's living room. The air feels different now, thicker with unspoken thoughts, as if everyone is trying to piece together what just unfolded. Slowly the group begins to disperse, almost as if we're all pretending that nothing monumental has shifted between us. Jake and Ryan mumble something about needing sleep, their voices low as they head toward the hallway, their footsteps heavy on the creaky floorboards. Ethan lingers for a moment, his gaze still fixed on the dying flames, before he too rises and disappears into the shadows of the cabin. Caleb and Tyler opt for the porch, grabbing another bottle of wine from the counter, their murmurs fading as the screen door squeaks shut behind them. It's as if they're trying to escape the weight of the moment, to drown it in more drink and quiet conversation under the stars. Mark and I stay by the fire, the silence between us both heavy and comforting. I shift closer to him, resting my head on his shoulder, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breathing. The heat from the embers warms my skin, but it's nothing compared to the warmth of his presence beside me. We don't speak, there's no need to. Words feel inadequate for what we're both processing. Instead, there's an understanding, a silent agreement that our marriage has stepped into uncharted territory tonight. It's not just about trust anymore. It's about daring to explore the edges of who we are, together. I feel the roughness of his flannel shirt against my cheek, the faint scent of wood smoke clinging to him, and I let myself sink into this moment, knowing that whatever comes next, we'll face it as a team. I'm still unraveling the tangle of emotions inside me as the night stretches on. There's a flicker of guilt, sharp and persistent, nagging at the edges of my mind. I question if I've crossed a line that can't be uncrossed, if I've risked too much for a fleeting thrill. But then there's the exhilaration, a wild, untamed rush that courses through me every time I replay the events in my head. It's a feeling I can't shake, a reminder of how alive I felt in those moments of surrender. And yet, as I sit here with Mark, I find myself standing firm in one truth. I don't regret it, not a single second. This night, as shocking as it was, has revealed something raw and real about us, something I didn't even know I was searching for until it stared me in the face. Eventually, the exhaustion catches up with me, and we make our way to bed, the cabin quiet except for the occasional creak of the old structure settling in the night. Sleep comes in fits and starts, my mind too restless to fully let go. When morning finally breaks, I wake to the soft gray light filtering through the cabin windows, the world outside still cloaked in a misty hush. The air inside carries the rich, bitter aroma of coffee brewing, a grounding scent that pulls me out of the fog of half-dreams. My body aches faintly, a subtle reminder of the intensity of last night, each twinge in my muscles whispering echoes of those charged encounters. I pull on a sweater, the wool scratchy against my skin, and pad barefoot into the kitchen, the cool floorboards sending a shiver up my spine. The others are already there, scattered around the small dining area, clutching mugs of steaming coffee. The atmosphere is different now, tinged with a quiet awkwardness that hangs like a thin veil over us. I catch brief glances from them, Jake's quick, almost appraising look before he turns back to his cup, Ethan's fleeting, unreadable stare that drops as soon as our eyes meet, Ryan's subtle smirk over the rim of his mug, a silent acknowledgement of shared secrets. Caleb offers a small, hesitant smile, his usual warmth dimmed by something unspoken, while Tyler fidgets with a spoon, avoiding eye contact altogether. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.